more than 3 decades of experience in internationalization, higher education. Your profile is inspiring, to say the least.
I always loved studying. I still love studying. I'm a lifelong learner and a lifelong student.
How has the conversation around internationalization changed over the last 2 decades?
I believe that the empowerment and capacity building that our own 58,000 plus higher education institutions in India, 58,000 plus, if all of us are able to get empowered and build that capacity through bringing in those best practices in some way, for me that is internationalization.
As a woman leader, how has this journey been? What are your reflections on that?
I'm a firm believer of Gita, and I feel that duty demands you to try your best. Karmanyavadikaraste. So you always have to keep on doing your best, and somehow God and universe aligns. Mother is the first educator, mother is the first teacher, and I think that there is a lot of power that women can provide to the community, to the service, even if they only are at home. Then also they can provide invaluable teachings.
Hi, welcome back. This is Ankur, Intersect by Masters Union podcast series. We have another very, very distinguished guest with us, Professor Dr. Bhawna Kumar, a leading internationalization and higher education expert. Dr. Bhavna, what an honor to have you here with us.
Bilkul. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Dr. Bhavna, you and me met recently. I'll say last 6 months back. We met at a conference, and ever since then we have started collaborating. I mean, your efforts, and in the last 6 months, whatever I have known you, it is amazing. I mean, more than 3 decades of experience in internationalization, higher education. I mean, your profile is inspiring, to say the least. I mean, for somebody like me who is a youngster in higher education and still trying to figure out my space in higher education in India, I think you have created a niche for yourself and inspire people like me and all of us in Masters Union to have you here is an honor. Thank you for taking time out.
Pleasure to be here and very inspired to also see the work that you and Masters Union are doing.
No, thank you so much. I'll start as we were discussing about this in the room. This is a very, casual, informal conversation where we bring in leaders like you on this hot chair and we ask them about their own journeys, both personal and professional. My own opinion is that there are no separate silos. Professional and personal lives go hand in hand, and there is a lot of our friends feel that professional lives starts from Monday to Friday and Saturday Sunday is your personal time. I don't think the world works like this. 7 days a week, you have to be balancing your personal and professional life. So we start with your own first personal journey, your early years. I mean, the city that you grew up in, the school that you went to. Some of those early years for you, and maybe some of the things that have stayed with you over so many years.
Well, I'm born and brought up in Delhi. Studied in a school called Happy School in a place
Okay.
called Daryaganj.
Okay.
And that is because my father was a cardiac surgeon.
Okay.
So grew in Maulana Azad Medical College campus, in a beautiful campus.
Oh, wow.
Learned cycling there amidst all doctors, and we played Antakshini with each other, and everybody used to know me as the girl who was cycling around. And I was born in that campus from a type 4 to a type 5 to a type 6. And coincidentally, when I joined college, that was also in Kashmiri Gate. So the true part of Delhi. Engineering happened not by choice. In 89, you didn't really have a choice.
Yes.
If you were a good student, you were a science student.
Yes.
In fact, if you even thought of taking commerce, people would have said, you must not be a good student. And I always loved studying. I still love studying. I'm a lifelong learner and a lifelong student. I'm the younger one of two sisters. So at the age of 54 today, I still am the younger one, I think.
Wonderful.
And my sister is 4.5 years elder to me. She went for engineering, and by default, I took up science because I was the head girl and I was the topper of my school, and just coincidentally followed in the footsteps of my sister. At the age of 3, I remember an anecdote when one of my aunts asked me, कि बड़े होके क्या बनना है.
हाँ जी.
एंड मैंने कहा 2 चीज़ें बननी है, एक मम्मी बनना है और एक टीचर बनना है, बन सकते
राधे
हैं.
राधे.
So I think that is where the life also turned. Though I did engineering, and my first job was Tata Honeywell.
Yeah.
2 brands, stalwarts,
So
Tata and
before we go to Honeywell, I just want to take a moment here. So you said in 1989 the choices were very limited. I think
you become an
same.
engineer or a doctor.
I mean, same was the story in 2001 for me. I'm in engineering and doctor, and I also went the engineering route. But I think uh, you also mentioned that you were really bright in your studies. You were the head girl in your school, and so you chose to become an engineer at NSIT. I
That
think
time it was called DIT. So
DIT.
Delhi College of Engineering and Delhi Institute of Technology.
So that is, I mean,
Under
you
Delhi
were
University. So my degree is at Delhi University.
Delhi University. I mean, very bright. I know I have done my engineering myself. How difficult, even in 2001, to get into, DIT was. And so you are from a Delhi University graduate, one of the top institutions in this country, uh, and you did the specialization in engineering. You
Instrumentation and control.
Instrumentation and control. Wonderful. So instrumentation and control was by choice or because of your rank, or I mean, mostly
Because of rank.
because of rank. I mean, this is the way we operate in India. Whatever rank we have, okay.
I don't think we ever chose what we were
Yeah,
doing. We
yeah.
just, engineering is a very good professional degree to have.
Yeah.
It sounds as if it's a good career to have.
And you were a gold medalist, right?
I am a gold
You are a
medalist.
gold medalist, so really bright. Any reflections from your college days? I mean, did you enjoy your 4
For
years
those
of?
who have seen the Kashmiri Gate campus, we had roofs which were of tin. We had a lot of monkeys. We did not really have.
Oh, this was a
proper
Kashmiri
labs.
Gate campus.
Kashmiri Gate campus,
Okay.
which is now the IP campus. But we were I think, a very integrated crowd. The peer group in such colleges becomes very, very special because all your friends and all your peers also come from a similar pedigree, hard work, discipline, but yet enjoying that life and stuff. And I think that is what makes a difference even today. Even today, when I look at these colleges which attract like a IIT or a NSUT or a DTU, they attract the common crowd, which is built on that discipline of, yes, we have to work so many number of hours a day, study, and aspirational towards that.
Absolutely, I think you are absolutely correct. I mean, they have this core ingredients that they will put in the hard work. They are smart, they are brainy, and they know how to maximize their time and the areas that they are putting into. And I have one more reflection from your time at NSIT. Uh, how are the classes? I mean, we are at Masters Union. We are all about learn by doing, and we are seeing that there is a big push for learn by doing. Do you remember any interesting, classroom experiences, or was it all theoretical? What was the approach like?
Unfortunately, mostly theoretical, but
Okay.
yes, I think one or two of the professors created a lot of impact in terms of being able to trigger that interest in
Okay.
instrumentation.
Okay.
Instrumentation was a very new specialization at that point of time. It was an integration of electronics and computers.
Okay.
So you had to have the knowledge of signals and processings and sensors, etc. But you also, computers had not really started,
Yes.
but a little bit of Pascal and BASIC had started. And instrumentation was a very big mix of that because you were looking at plants which were being managed by signals and transmission of those signals, etc. So a few of the professors used to, but unfortunately, I think the quality of even the labs in our country in engineering still lacks the depth and still lacks that practical component that we do. And even though, as you pointed out, I am the topper of my batch,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't think that if you say, am I a very qualified engineer in terms of practice, I wouldn't want.
And that is exactly
that
because
is-
your feedback is very important because you're the gold medalist of your batch. And I completely resonate with what you said because a lot of our guests here who come for this podcast also, I've had a similar question with them. And many of them mentioned, even though they went to top institutions in India, I think that learn by doing and hands-on experience is something that they miss. And definitely, I mean, there is hope with NEP 2020. We are talking about hands-on learning and bringing in industry to academia So hopefully things are looking better.
No,
They'll
absolutely.
change.
And that is unfortunately, that was the case with the summer internship as well.
Yeah.
In that time, like right now, it is very inspiring to see that children, as well as industry, as well as institutions like yours and other institutions, are bringing in practice schools, and the industry is also very keen to offer that kind of an internship. In our times, internship was also very sad through somebody who is known to you.
एब्सोल्युटली मेरी अपनी
अगर आई
इंटर्नशिप मेरे
हाँ कोई
पिताजी ने
किसी
लगवाई
कोई
थी क्योंकि
यहाँ था
अंकल से
तो
बोल के कि भाई
अंकल से
चले
कोई होगा जो
कोई
होगा
होगा जो
एंड बस था कि ठीक है
बस वो सर्टिफिकेट मिल
बैठ
जाता
जाना
था
है कमरे
बैठ
में बैठ
जाना है
जाओ कॉफी
बिल्कुल
पी लेना खाना खा लेना बस
बिल्कुल इंटर्नशिप तो बिल्कुल एब्सोल्युटली इंटर्नशिप वाज आई मीन टू बी ऑनेस्ट आई हैव डन two internships in my engineering days and both of them were nothing to do with any internship. I mean, I hardly went to that office, and whenever I went to, the person who was, responsible for me used to say, "Don't touch many things here. I mean, just be here. You're here for the certificate. We'll give you the certificate," and that was recognized. And I think that is changing now, where
much in time.
yeah, absolutely. And I'm vouch for it that it should change. I mean, that is the biggest education that one can have. I mean,
In
learning by
fact,
doing.
had it been there at that point of time, maybe today you would have, if we would have, our paths would have crossed, you would have been talking to an engineer still by practice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that is what I really don't like,
Yeah.
that we end up spending so much of money into engineering institutions. But it's very sad that people who do civil engineering don't end up becoming civil engineers. People who do an electrical don't end
Same,
up
I
becoming,
mean,
and they
and
get
it is-
recruited by software. The
Absolutely.
quality of engineering at those specialization levels requires to be seen, heard, and practiced.
Yes, practiced, and that was definitely missing at my time, your time, and I don't think for majority of our college even today it has changed. It is still remained the same, and I hope we work on that. Now coming back to you, I mean, you mentioned Honeywell. So Honeywell was your campus placement, and
Campus placement, yes.
Wonderful.
So, and Tata Honeywell it was at that point of time.
And this was in which
And
city?
It was in Pune.
Pune.
So, as a Delhi girl, I always thought I would not like any other city. But Pune was a very, very excellent experience. I've made some lifelong friends and family friends there. It welcomed me as a city. It was a city of the right mix of people who were studying, of bachelors who were working. I had my own apartment for the very first time, so I never went to hostel.
Okay.
But I
So
was
you were
an
a day
independent.
scholar at
I was a
NSI.
day scholar because I was staying in the Malanzad Medical College campus, which was a few kilometers away. But in Pune, I had my own little apartment and my own little fridge and my own little gas. And I'm talking about 93.
Wonderful.
And in Pune, it was like there's a Delhi girl who's living alone.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed the treks that we did to Ramgarh and all the other places like Lonavala and everything.
And Pune at that point of time will not be the Pune of today, right? It will, I mean, today, very different kind of a
absolutely.
city.
It was not congested.
Not congested, and I think a smaller community than Mumbai for sure. I mean, and definitely you mentioned the treks. I mean, beautiful
Absolutely.
nature.
With a great crowd of friends who were
Friends.
all in Tata Honeywell.
And it was also like a university city. I mean, Pune is a university city. A lot of college students. I mean, I've been to, I mean, couple of campuses there: Symbiosis, Flame, and I think Ferguson College. All of these are fantastic institutions.
Very good crowd and very warm people.
Very warm people. And so, how long in Honeywell?
3 years.
And
So
how was the experience in Honeywell? Did you enjoy your
I really enjoyed.
job?
And I think I was also planning to stick on to doing engineering because I thought that, as I told you, I was inspired by the journey that my own sister had taken. So
Yeah.
she continues to be a hardcore engineer. But somewhere I think we are all different, and
Yeah.
that is not necessarily a good
Absolutely.
thing. After 3 years, I realized that if I want to continue in engineering, I would have to be posted in a plant. Because I worked on projects like a Tata Steel, etc. And if it was hardcore instrumentation engineering, then you would need to go and work in a plant to control the proper processes. I used to work on distributed control systems. So all those DLCs and PLCs, etc., you would have had to get us stationed in a plant. Whereas I then thought myself in more of project management roles. And if then one has to go in the project management side, I thought I needed an MBA degree. And that is when in 96, I came back to Delhi and I got admission in Ford School of Management.
And Ford School of Management.
Yes. That was
Super.
wave
And then you
5.
gave, was it the time of CAT? I mean,
No, no.
How did?
It was again a direct admission because I was the topper of my engineering
Of your
college,
college.
and it was a fifth. It was wave 5 or 4. I was one of the few people with 3 years of work experience, which I really think to do an
Yes.
MBA was a additional bonus.
Yeah.
I used to cycle from my house in South Extension to Kutub Institutional area, and again I was looked upon as a person with a very different instinct that everybody was coming in cars and stuff, and I used to love cycling. Unfortunately, Delhi roads are not very welcome
No.
to
Yes.
cycling. I do
No.
wish that we somewhere become cyclists so that we can reduce all this upcoming pollution that Delhi is going to throw on us.
But unfortunately, that is another sad part of our cities. We do not really have paths for cyclists, people who want to walk. I mean, it is difficult. As I said, I mean, I was also big time into cycling, not as much as you, but yeah, in the mornings I used to go out. But then I pretty soon realized that it's not safe
Not safe at all. It's
to
not
be
safe.
venturing out on
There
the
is
roads
no
as a cyclist.
there's no service lane. There
And
is no
now, I mean,
indicator.
those years maybe the traffic would have been less.
Yes, yes. It was pretty enjoyable. Pollution was not so
Not
much.
there.
I'm
Yeah.
talking about 96 to 98. It was
Wonderful.
perfectly doable.
Yeah. And Kutub Institutional area is a beautiful
Very,
area.
very good area.
I've been there
I
myself.
enjoyed my college years. Again, good
So
peer
2 year
group.
program?
2 year postgraduate diploma. I did a specialization in finance and IT, and I chose finance because I did not have a finance background, and I thought that understanding of balance sheets and a little bit of what is a credit and debit is important. Because
important.
engineering came easy,
Yeah.
and IT was hence an obvious choice. But the second specialization, I thought I should take up finance.
Wonderful. And so finance. So this is 96 to 98.
96 to 98.
So 98 you graduated from Ford School of Management with a degree in finance.
And IT,
And I'm sure
yes.
you got a campus placement there as well.
I got a campus placement, so I was a gold medalist there as well.
Yes.
My name is there on the wall.
Super.
still. I got a campus placement, but that was in Bombay at that point of time, and it was one of those choices that, if now I reflect back upon, was not the right choice. It was Siemens, but the profile and the job description was not right. So if today, when I'm talking to some youngsters, sometimes you get weighed by the brand, but you ignore the job description, and the brand picks
Yes,
you up from a
that-
campus placement,
Yes.
but the job description is not something that is suitable to the work that either you want to do or are capable of doing.
Yeah.
And that was my unfortunate case in that. So I did a few stints in jobs. I worked in the market research department, and
This was where?
so Jones Lang LaSalle.
Okay.
So one of my classmates at 4, he was starting the research wing at JLL.
Okay.
JLL is a very renowned
Yeah.
real estate consulting firm, and they were starting a research division. So I had worked with a firm called Indica Research for a while, which was made by somebody who had been working with IMRB, etc. And I enjoyed working in the market research industry. So when my classmate was setting up this research division, and we had done a lot of projects together in 4, he called me to join him. And so I worked with him to set up some market research reports, etc. And I realized that I love working in research, and that is when I realized that academics could be an option for me.
Yes, so that is where the first time you realized. But at 3 years also you mentioned that you wanted to be a teacher when somebody asked you. Okay, super. So then yes, so you started working in research and you started thinking about academia.
Uh, well, that was a time when then I had got married, and
Okay.
I continued to do a part-time work from home while my daughter was growing up.
Okay.
And
So you have one daughter or
I
two
have
children?
I have 2 children. So my daughter is 24, my son is 20.
Okay.
Mm.
So then, your children were growing up, and then
My children were growing up, and I was doing freelance the market reports for JLL. But 2001, 2002 was not the best of times for the work from home, flexibility for a working mother. And it was not really the time when you could expect that, yes, you would have a continuous flow of work from home. And 2003, advertisements were then flowing in the market with private higher education institutions which
Okay.
were coming.
Okay.
And I saw an ad by Rai Business School and by Amity,
Okay.
and I applied to both.
Okay.
And that was my
So you applied to them as a faculty member?
as a faculty member.
Okay.
As a faculty member.
Okay.
I
And
thought
then
that I would get into education, I would take up few subjects, and that would possibly give me a little bit of flexibility to be able to also raise my children
children.
while they were growing up. That was genuinely the reason why
Yes.
I entered it. Uh, but 2003, when I joined Amity, I got to work with a mentor called Dr. Gurinder Singh, and he's the Group Vice Chancellor of Amity Education
Yes,
Group
yes,
at
a
that
very,
point of
very celebrated
Amity
person.
was not a university at that point of time. 2003 AICTE PGDBM was the rule. I joined Amity in the Amity International Business School. It was, but 2005 they became one of the first private universities. When I had joined them, there were 120 students. When I left them in 2022, there were 200,000 students.
200,000 students. Wow, what a journey. And this was
So
the Noida campus, I
this
think.
was the Noida. So earlier, when I joined in 2003, it was only a one building PGDBM being offered from the same premises as a Sector 44 school.
Okay. Sector 44
But
school
even at
in
that
Noida.
time in Noida, they were offering the MBA from the same premises. Then gradually they brought this land in 125, and as we saw the transition, we saw the growth of
Wow.
a business school into these international campuses,
So
into
Amity
multiple
started as a
campuses
business school.
as a business.
Okay.
They started in the school space, so they
Okay.
started with their K-12 schools. But in the post-graduation space, in the higher education, they started with AICT approved programs.
Programs.
And then when in 2005 they were the first to get an approval from the Uttar Pradesh state, because the state act was passed in 2005. That is when they got this land in 125, and we
Right.
gradually shifted, and we added more programs. And I was privileged that I learned the journey of privatization of higher education in India through the lens of Amity.
Wow.
So at that point of time, internationalization was not heard of. When I joined in 2003, Amity was running a twinning program.
In
Now we in
2003.
2003. Now we know it as TNE. At that time,
Yes.
I had no idea it is a twinning or a TNE. I thought in internationalization, private universities are active. So Amity had a program with the University of East London,
Okay.
which was a 1+1. And one of my responsibilities under Dr. Singh was to be able to look at the academic mapping, to be able to ensure that the question papers that the students did were aligned with the syllabus of University of East London. Even then, 120 students used to go. That was not the age of emails, that was not the age of very effective communication channels. We used to actually have answer scripts, we used to actually courier them to UK and send them.
Wow.
The British Council at that point of time awarded Amity as an institution which was sending the largest number of students to UK.
UK. At
At
that
that
time,
point of
in
time, it was not
2003.
2003. So many people that I know have actually done 1 year in India and 1 year there
Okay. And these students would get a degree from
from
Amity,
University of East London
University of East London. Wow.
at that point of time.
That point of
And
time.
hence, I think it was just a very interesting corporate flavor combined with a strategic intent with the teaching experience. And all the three factors were responsible for my continuing to really enjoy and learn from my days at Amity. And that's why I spent almost 19 years there.
19 years is a big time, and you are absolutely correct. I mean, you have seen the growth of Amity from a business
120.
school, 120 students to now. I mean, it's like a marquee brand and international campuses, India, multiple campuses, universities. I mean, it's definitely a case study. I'm successful.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Uh,
Dr. Chauhan and Dr. Atul Chauhan, Dr. Asim Chauhan, all of them had a vision that yes, India needs to be empowered by education.
yeah,
And that was implemented by my mentor and boss, Dr. Gurinder Singh.
Dr.
So,
Gurinder Singh. Yeah.
so
Super. So now we come to, I mean, it's a very, I think it's a good cue. I mean, you have spent so many years, 19 years with MIT, and then I think one of the core competencies you have developed and you are known for is your internationalization. And as you mentioned, I mean, you love it because it is very strategic. It has a corporate flavor to it, and it also has a teaching element to it, and you enjoy that mix of all these three elements. So what has been, I mean, I remember, I mean, I have worked in internationalization also at Ashoka and Jindal and all these places, but from a perspective of admissions. I mean, we bring in students
yes,
from
students.
international countries, and the founders at these institutions believe that Indian institutions are now ready to host international students and for a full-fledged Indian degrees, and we can compete with, I mean, with any top institution around the world. Uh, but for me, as an outsider to internationalization space, I mean, in terms of collaborations and bringing in 1+1, 2+2 now,
Yeah,
the world is wide open in India these days. But
absolutely.
how have you seen this space evolve in the last 2 decades and more that you have been doing internationalization, starting with your experience at MIT and now? I mean, I know it's a very broad question, but if you can just sum it up in probably 3 4 main points in terms of how has the conversation around internationalization changed over the last 2 decades?
The biggest has been the mobility. So
Okay.
earlier it was only about how many students are going abroad,
Okay.
how many students are able to get a study abroad experience. And the biggest change, which is the most heartening for me, is that the Indian institutions are now also advocating that it should be reciprocal.
Mm.
What is it that is going to be internationalization at home?
Mm.
And my passion is internationalization at home. I believe that the empowerment and capacity building that our own 58,000 plus higher education institutions in India, 58,000 plus, if all of us are able to get empowered and build that capacity through bringing in those best practices in some way, for me, that is internationalization.
Mm.
So the balance earlier it was all credit transfers. You do some part here, you go abroad. Now the conversations are changing to a dual degree or a joint degree and a joint PhD, and of course the 16 letter of intents, which are the talk of the town, as foreign
Yeah,
universities
foreign
coming
industries
into
coming to
India.
India. Yeah, and so we'll come to the foreign campuses being set up in India. I mean, that's a very interesting subject these days. But this idea of first earlier, the internationalization was our students going abroad for a semester and all, probably getting some credit transfers, and now to the conversation where Indian universities are also, because I remember from because I've also worked in university space for many years now, that there were a lot of MOUs being signed with international universities, but the reciprocity was missing. I mean, our students used to go there and not many used to come. I mean, even today, it's very difficult for people. I've seen this challenge because I have colleagues working in internationalization space that, and there was this constant uh, thing that probably the universities in the Western hemisphere have more clout in terms of, in the relationship, that we would want our students to go there, and okay, if they are not coming, it is okay. We still want to probably, have their brand, support our brand to get more admissions or maybe create a route. How have you seen this change? I mean, there is this. I mean, I know for a fact in institutions such as, I mean, I have worked with Ashoka and Masters Union, now with internationalization and Jindal also. I mean, we are now, I mean, as institutions such as ours are now also
Able to attract. I think
able to
study in
attract.
India, yes, I think study in India, you yourself mentioned destination marketing.
Yeah,
We've not been able to do that. We
yeah,
have that, we actually have all the right ingredients,
yes,
but that was never done. But before that, I'll take your point of MOUs,
yeah,
because I have seen that MOUs was signed by multiples and multiples, thousands of people shaking hands and smiling and things.
yes,
Implementation of MOUs and outcome of those MOUs has also changed. That was never taken very seriously. It was always about getting a brand on your
yes,
website and a
website.
logo on your website.
Yeah,
And we have 5 MOUs, we have 5 things. What are you achieving out of those MOUs was not really being measured. And that for me is the second biggest change in internationalization. That even some institutions are now saying, let's first get the KRA and the KPI and the outcome, then we'll sign the MOU.
mm.
If that spirit comes in, then your MOU is actually something which is having that integration. Otherwise, it will be just a shaking and smiling of two people
And
at the end of
absolutely,
it.
and I think the MOUs are being well thought through now in terms of exactly what are the outcomes expected from that MOU rather than just signing.
Absolutely. Otherwise, it can be a general, let's do a
Yeah,
student exchange,
yeah,
faculty exchange, joint degree, dual degree, but that doesn't make any sense any longer. Study in India. I think study in India is something, if you see the kind of people who come from outside, everybody is impressed enough. And there are many ways in which you can
absolutely.
attract them. And institutions, like you've already mentioned, are doing it. It's something which we can, if we collectively do, we'll be able to attract and we'll be able to develop very good.
Absolutely. I was mentioning about Intersect. I mean, last time we did Intersect, we had delegates from over 20 countries, and then, few of the delegates came from US, and they were, I mean, in awe. They said, okay, I mean, this is amazing, the learn by doing philosophy, the campus experience, the quality of the students that you have, the quality of the people that are here is just world class. I mean, at par with any global institution. I think you are absolutely correct. I mean, we have been not able to sell the India story of Indian institutions now being really up. I think we need to do a better job of who we are reaching out to and what is the messaging we are trying to do, and then uh, specifically, you know, giving a platform to such institutions such as I mentioned, I mean, Masters Union and Ashoka and Jindal and Shiv Nadar and Azim Premji and all these, Ahmedabad University, all of them are doing very well. And at par, I mean, in terms of academic experience, in terms of campus experience, in terms of, outcomes expected out of students.
And in fact, earlier the myth was that you will only be able to get students from Africa or Nepal or something. But these
Absolutely.
institutions have shown that you can even get students from Stanford and Princeton and
I mean,
NYU
I
and
mean,
and
amazing.
all the other places which are actually and the concept of I think having faculty-led initiatives, etc., is also bringing these people to India.
Absolutely. And now with the even the geopolitical environment, I mean, people are now looking more towards Asia now. I mean, they're saying, okay, what are the opportunities in Asia? So I think this is right time for us also as Indian institutions to now start leading this
So as a
conversation.
part of the role where I am a director, transnational education at Acumen,
Okay.
which
Yes.
is
Now
which is
coming
one
to
of the
Acumen.
things. Yes. So we have been working very closely with Niti Aayog along with IIT Madras and Association of Indian Universities.
Okay.
It's a consortium of 3 knowledge partners. And in a few weeks, you will see this report for Niti Aayog, which is on policy and roadmap of internationalization of higher education in India. So I have been very privileged to have been able to contribute as a research lead from Acumen in that
Wonderful.
report. And one of the emphasis is study in India
Wonderful.
and the concept of education cities. If you go outside, we see Oxford, Cambridge, the Silicon Valley, the Harvard Business School, MIT. Those are education cities.
Yes.
And how can we develop? We see these happening now in some of the areas where education hubs are coming in. But maybe they are the areas and they are the towns that will also be able to evolve and bring in the foreign students.
Absolutely. And you mentioned this. I mean, I was recently in July. I was in Boston, and that entire city is,
Is a
is an education city. I mean, you have Tufts, you have Harvard, you have, I mean, MIT, and Boston College. And I mean, I went around the city for a week, and then you went go to Amherst and, I mean, Mount Holyoke. I mean, all these campuses. I mean,
and these cities have emerged from universities. So I'm
yes.
working with the University of Sheffield in UK
Okay.
as a
Okay.
part of Acumen. And the whole town of Sheffield has come into an industrial academic town. So they work
Yes.
closely with the Boeing and the Rolls Royce and they do it together, but it's basically driven by that university academia collaboration.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, something which is going to come in. Google announced their big AI cluster in Visakhapatnam.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
sure,
Today
yes,
it is in Times
today.
of India.
And I don't see the day very far when we'll have a good AI university there, maybe.
Wonderful.
And that again, maybe something like a better than a University of Sheffield town.
And I can name you one. I mean, there's a fantastic institution called Geetam in Visakhapatnam. And last year I took about 11 African high school counselors to, I mean, I brought them to India on a 5 university tour. We started in Mumbai, went to Pune, then we went to Ahmedabad, and then we took them to Vishakhapatnam. Geetam hosted us for 2 days, and beautiful campus. And the guy there, I mean, the president, Shri Bharatji, is amazing. I mean, a graduate of Purdue. What vision! And when these counselors met him, what a campus, the deans, the faculty. So I'm not.
And that's the third change.
Yes.
That the leadership
Yeah.
of universities in
Yes.
India has become more professional.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and I'm a young, dynamic leader and open to ideas. Uh, I was first time for me in Vishakhapatnam and in Geetam, and I was blown away. I mean, I said, okay, wow, what a legacy and what a vision for the future as well. So great. I mean, so India looks promising, and a lot of work that you are doing. Thank
And
you
very
for.
fortunate to be in India at this stage of
Yes, yes.
internationalization and higher education.
Higher education, absolutely. So you mentioned your work as a consultant with Niti Aayog and with Acumen. So you work in the space of, and AIU also. I mean, what are you seeing in terms of government policies now? Also, I mean, we mentioned the foreign campuses coming to India, and we have a education city in Mumbai. I mean, right next to the Navi Mumbai airport, which was announced, and then Bangalore, and even in Gurgaon, we have now University of Southampton, which has started operations, and we have many more that are are talking about setting up campuses in coming couple of years, 3 years to 5 years period. So what do you see as an expert now? Again, going back from your own experience, I mean, so many years in internationalization. How are you seeing this
I
change?
am on the side of yes, this will bring a better change for the country. So there is a debate that yes, this
Yes.
is changing. I am on the side of this is a change which India needs for the simple reason that there are multiple factors which are going to change because of this. One of the things that is still not right is that they can set up as a for-profit and we cannot, etc. But I think the government is now open to those ideas. I think, and that will also become a change for the better. The quality of the faculty. See, when I think you will second me and remember what I mean. When I entered education, I took a salary at a very lower level than what I was drawing from corporate.
Yes.
And it's a fact that anybody who was in education either was there because the person was a reject
Yeah.
or
Yes.
because your MBA graduates earn more than what you are,
Bilkul.
especially in a business school. So I was heading the international business school, but if you're teaching a MBA, they will draw more salary than you are.
Yeah.
And that can never be a source of contentment
Yeah.
for attracting them. I think that the quality of education will change because these people will recognize that faculty required. And Ashoka's and Shivnadan and Masters Union have already brought in
Yes.
that change.
Absolutely.
We need a 28% to a 50% GER to a 100% GER. Why
Yes.
only 50% GER, I
Yes.
say?
Yes.
We should have a 100% GER in whatever form. It
Yes.
could be a short term course, but why only 50%? Everybody should be educated. It's a lifelong learning process. And if that has to happen, we need more institutions. And some theory says that we need an institution or 11 universities per week. I have not done a calculation whether that is right or wrong.
Yes.
But needless, we need more institutions in the
Yes.
country. The demand is currently more. The demand for good quality is currently more. The third, besides the faculty, is the intersection of the helixes that we see, the triple helix, which is industry, academia, and government. Unfortunately, in our country, that was not happening. The industry says education doesn't happen in the right way, but they don't do anything about it.
Absolutely.
You don't see them coming and saying, let's set up a lab in Masters Union.
Yeah.
But outside, this has been one of
Yes.
the biggest ways in which the education has developed.
I think one of the successes for us, so just to add to this, I mean, one of the biggest success for Masters Union is that we have been able to bring in industry. I mean, we have very strong partnership with KPMG. I mean, we are sitting in a corporate park. I mean, right
Absolutely.
next to us is Aviva. Across is Samsung headquarters for Asia, and I mean, so the idea behind setting up a campus in the middle of corporate Gurgaon and one of the costliest real estate in the world was that we want our students to have access to the industry and industry have access to. So I think you are absolutely correct. And you also mentioned earlier the geography of these educational institutions. If you have an education institution which is 100 kilometers outside of the city, it becomes very difficult for the industry to go out and
spare
reach
the
out to
time,
spend
correct.
time
And
with
here
them.
you can just walk
Here
in
you
and
can just walk in, and then I mean, I also now remember a book that I read, A Geography of Genius. There's a very interesting book which says, over the years also there have been certain geographies where you have a lot of great people coming together, and these cities have gone on to change the way humanity has functioned. And I think one of the key things there as well was that you need to give spaces for smartest people in your town or in the world to come together and ideate and collaborate, and then you have those eureka moments where you have
Correct. So even Gift City, where people still are apprehensive, I remain positive. So I worked very closely with Dr. Dipesha, the IFSCA, and the team there, and I've been observing the growth. And the reason why a university earlier Gift City was never meant to bring in a university. The reason why the IFSCA Act was put in was because if you have such a strong foreign and fintech zone, how can you survive without a university? You have to have the
Wonderful.
things, and that is why the act was passed. Unfortunately, there have been certain, but I think we all go through iterations, and we will see that also becoming.
No, that's a very interesting idea and a great idea. I think the vision is absolutely correct. You are in agreement with this. I am in agreement with this, that you need university, industry, and the government to come together and not operate in silos, because that does not work. If either one of them is not in sync, with what the economy demands or what the industry demands or what the students are asking for. I think faculty remunerations and I mean those kind of things that you mentioned is also absolutely correct. I mean nobody even today if you I go to so many schools and if I ask what are the top three or five three or top three five professions that you want to go to, teaching is not there.
Absolutely.
And I lament and I tell my students like, okay, but nobody wants to be a teacher. Then who is going to produce more of engineers and doctors and scientists and whatever this country needs? So teaching should be one of, and you're absolutely correct. I mean, teaching was always an afterthought for people who could not make it anywhere. We used to pick up teaching as a profession, and even the students themselves. I mean, we used to think लगता है सर का कहीं प्लेसमेंट नहीं हुआ होगा तो अभी पढ़ा रहे हैं 6 महीने के लिए, जब जॉब लग जाएगी तो चले जाएंगे. So this was the idea that we also lived through. This is all my lived experience in my education days as well, because teaching was never a top choice for anybody.
Well, I think we will also have our own cotlers, and we already have a few, but
Yes.
we'll have more.
Yes. Amazing. But yes, so teachers are, I mean, in Indian philosophy, a guru is most respected.
Absolutely.
I mean, all our Vedas talk about it, and
They
I
do.
mean,
Guru Govind dono khade, kaake lagu pad.
yes. And I think even your own, I was reading your LinkedIn profile where you have a very nice shloka at the top where it says, I mean, education is the only thing and only wealth. that cannot be divided, and that is
सरस्वती का भंडार है ना, जितना जितना लुटाओगे उतना बढ़ेगा.
bilkul, and how much you share it grows manifold. So I completely resonate with the thoughts and ideas that you believe in, and that's why I think we click together. Uh, Now, finally, also, I mean, we have discussed a lot for the last 40 minutes. I also want to touch upon, your own journey as a woman leader. I mean, you mentioned that, after marriage, you had children, and that's why, you took up that role at Amity because you wanted to have flexible hours. A lot of the time, youngsters also ask me. I mean, when I started this conversation, I told you it is never about Monday to Friday and Saturday, Sunday. You have to, success is always collective. I mean, you may see one person succeeding, but there may be 2, 3, 4 other people behind them who ensure that this person is raised up and gets those opportunities. You mentioned Dr. Gurinder Singh at Amity who helped you. But as a woman leader, how has this journey been? What are your reflections on that?
So number one, I'm a firm believer of Gita, and I feel that duty demands you to try your best. Karmanyavadikaraste. So you always have to keep on doing your best, and somehow God and universe aligns, and your own support systems automatically they come. If you're trying your best, you will find the way. I always wanted to be a mother as well, besides being a teacher. So
Yes,
if
at
both
3-year-old.
were there, and you just so yes, I think first and foremost the family. So the parents, your sisters, brothers, they really have to be able to give you that kind of a platform. That yes, you are. There's no difference between a woman and a man. So we were brought up as two. We are two sisters. We were brought up as two very independent individuals to be able to take happy decisions. But always, my father he's a heart surgeon. So he always used to say, just you have to keep on doing your best in whatever you do. In whatever you do. The second was yes, the work environment, as you said, the flexibility that sometimes we need. You cannot work in a biometric environment. You cannot work in a punch in, punch out as a woman.
Yes.
And if that is understood with the flexibility of being able to concentrate on deliverables, then there is an opportunity for everybody. And not only, I don't even think it's only women. Everybody.
Everyone.
You just cannot be, you have to punch in at a 9 and punch out at a 5. That culture is a very ridiculous culture. If you are able to find that, and you act, and without giving that importance to KPIs, if you have that, then there's no importance given to any results.
Yeah,
people should also come to
exactly
results.
Exactly my thought.
The third is that I think you build your own support systems. It could be through your parents, it could be through your husband, it could be through that, but support systems exist.
Yes.
They exist, and they exist beautifully. And I think you go home much more empowered. Your children, your family also respect you, but everybody, it's not necessary. I had to overcome that thing that I have to make fresh fulkas for everybody at home.
Yeah.
You have to overcome some things and find out what is it that you will give up for 5 minutes in order to do 5 things more. And I think you find your way.
Yes.
Just believe that there is a way for you to achieve without spending all your time only as a person who's responsible for managing a kitchen or household.
Yes.
Mother is the first educator, mother is the first teacher, and I think that there is a lot of power that women can provide to the community, to the service, even if they only are at home, then also they can provide invaluable teachings to
Wonderful.
the community.
Wonderful. I totally resonate. I mean, I just want to go back to the punch in, punch out, 8 hours a day kind of a day. I mean, I when I started my career and I had to do this, I was, and I said, why are we? I mean, why are we supposed to do this? I mean, and I used to feel very ridiculous. I mean, I said, even if I do not work in those 8 hours, you're okay. At least some punch has been done. Somebody is sitting in that chair. What is the outcome of that body? Nobody wants to hear. I mean, HR used to talk about, okay, you're 5 minutes late that day, we'll cut that much salary. I said, once we are in the office, what is the productivity? Nobody is talking about that. How happy I am feeling today, nobody is talking
No.
about that. How productive I can be if I maybe spend only 3 hours in a day in the office. I mean, most of the times I used to feel that even if we work 8 hours continuously, this entire country will change.
Absolutely.
Nobody works 8 hours. Any
Nobody.
office, I can. I mean, Narayan Murthy ji talks about 70 hours week. I say,
8 productive hours.
8 productive hours.
At any time of the day.
At any time of the day, you can have that 8 productive hours. I mean, this whole country will change.
Absolutely. I
And we don't
completely
need to go for 70 hours if we only follow 8 hours. But I will,
But
yes,
with the productivity that each one of us can provide.
provide. I mean, if you're
And each one
inspired,
of us has productivity in different ways.
if we are inspired by what we are doing, if we are excited about our Mondays and we feel empowered to do the things that we need to do, if we are honest, sincere in our jobs.
My grandfather used to say that blessed is the person who wakes up in the morning and knows what it is that you are supposed to do in the next.
Yes, absolutely.
That is the KPI.
Absolutely.
When you should know what are you spending it on.
Yes, absolutely. And you value your time. I mean, I have left in my own career jobs where I felt that I am myself not sure of what value can I add to this place, because, and people used to say, why are you leaving? I mean, you're doing such a good job. And I said, no, I don't feel inspired. I don't feel that I am adding value to you, and you are adding value to my own life. This whole both conversation has to flow, and every person has to be responsible for themselves. And then you are absolutely right, you find your support systems around you.
Absolutely.
When you start thinking like that, okay, this is
Like-minded people attract
will
like
attract like-minded people.
Absolutely.
And that
so
is
I'm,
where
I'm blessed to have a very supportive husband, lovely children, a lovely family support with my mother, my sister, my in-laws.
God bless you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Dr. Bhavna ji, thank you so much for spending time with us
Pleasure to
and
have you.
sharing your personal and professional journey and your pearls of wisdom with all of us here at Intersect by Masters Union. We hope that we have a continued association with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.